Chargers cashing in at the window in Vegas.
Shake and bake, but don't hesitate.
Is a hot dog a sandwich?
That's good.
Hold up. It's the Chargers Squad. Everything Los Angeles Chargers every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the City of Angels. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Get ready and squad up. It's the Chargers Squad Show, starting now.
Damn you, Jim. Now we can spend the whole hour talking about that very thing.
Good.
What's up? Welcome to the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Chargers with a 20-9 win. I am Pete Fox, covering sports in LA dating back to 2007. Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the National Football League, 3 rings. Which fingers does he put those rings on? That's a good question. We need to find out where they are. We haven't asked that question yet. Where are those rings, Kenyon? And
if I was to tell you, I'd have to kill you.
Jim Daniels, covering sports in LA dating back to 2001 for a variety of places, including NBC Sports Radio, where we worked together. Today's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by FanDuel. As the season is underway, let's see if they got this updated yet. Right now, new customers can bet $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. 20-9, the final. One of the things about this game that seems a little weird to me is it felt like it should be like 30-9, 35-9. The score does not indicate how much the Chargers dominated, or maybe I'm wrong, that it was closer than it felt, because I felt like the Chargers had this game in control throughout, except for right at the very end when that drop pick by Pratt, that was the turning point. Like, that was the Raiders' opportunity to get back in. That could have changed the whole tone of this game. And then the Chargers go for it on 4th down. That was such a weird ball and a bad one. Why? Exactly. Why do you go for it there? But Dante Jackson with an interception in the end zone. Derwin James broke it up. Fantastic play. The defense was balling out today, KB.
Yeah. Yes, they were. From Dayon Henley to Derwin to Tarheeb, this defense showed up and showed out and really carried this team. This was a great performance, not only offensively, but again, when you have a defense like this, I say this all the time, defense wins championships, offense wins games. When you have a defense that shows up like this and plays lights out like this, despite losing Khalil Mack, and still go on to dominate this game, can't say enough about this defense and the game plan and the execution of it. Can't say enough about it.
And usually, you're looking for you want your defense to set you up and leave you in good situations, but same thing goes for the offense. The offense can sputter and do all kinds of things like fumble and make problems for the defense, but the offense made it easy for the defense too. I mean, didn't it look like, you know how when you're a kid and your older brother or the bigger kid in the neighborhood, he puts his head on hand on your forehead and just holds you just arm's length and you're swinging like crazy. That's what it felt like the Chargers did to the Raiders tonight. I was like, they're just kind of really playing with them because they really didn't look like they were in the same league to me. I mean, the Chargers really outclassed them, I think, certainly all 3 phases of the game.
This was one of the best examples of complementary football in all phases of the game. This was a great game by the Chargers.
Yeah.
2 pats on the back for us, KB, for you and for me and for the whole group, all 3 of us, because we talked about this last week on Thursday or whatever day we did the other squad show. The one thing that we said that they could improve upon was coverage. And to me, they did that in spades.
Wow.
Boy, they were locking down today. Yeah, I mean, they just like they gave, again, there was a little bit of bend don't break, but for the most part, they were just making life very, very tough for Geno Smith and the entire receiving core. Jacoby Myers had an okay game. Brock, they had okay games, right? But I just thought they were all over them on the corner. They gave them no opportunity to breathe.
From the opening tip, from the start of the game, the first turnover of the game, the Gilman PBU to the Henley interception, that set the tone for the game. That was kind of the wheels falling off of this wagon early on for the Raiders, and they were never able to get it to go. And this defense was absolutely suffocating. Tarheeb still, if I had to give a individual MVP, right, Tarheeb still would be the guy that I would go to just because of the simple fact he was all over the field, whether it was in coverage, whether it was coming up in the run game, whether it was on short passes, making tackles, he was just highly effective. Cam Hart had a great game. Little inconsistent in the beginning, but showing up late. And again, this was, again, a phenomenal game by this defense. Probably one of the best games that I've seen in a couple years watching these guys.
Yeah, huge way to start, Jim. I mean, interception, first play of the game. I mean, like, wow. And then it was weird because it kind of slowed. Like, Herbie was 1 for 5 after that. And we were kind of like, what just happened? We saw them interception, first play of the game, or was it the one play in? I think it was it the exact first play or was it the second play? Anyway,
I think it was the first play, first
play of the game. So, and then Herbie can't really find anybody, kind of slows a little bit. They settle for a field goal. We're like, oh no.
Yeah, but let me just say the words got to come out of my mouth. Deion Henley is trouble. Okay, he is just trouble back there. This guy. I mean, he's just the talent, the energy. I just love everything about this guy's game, and then what he brings. And I thought for Herbie, and I think I may have already said this. It looked the ease in which they operated the offense. I mean, props to Greg Roman for calling the exact right plays all night long. I mean, how long was it? Wonder, was it 14 plays? They have a 14-play drive. They operated well. I mean, you wish it was that easy every week, but I think this also points to just how soft the Raiders defense is. And it's been, there was a lot of talk in social media this week. The Raiders talked a lot this week in social media from the head coach on down. Everybody was talking a lot about, we're going to bring it. We're going to show you. We got surprises for you. And it was all hot air. It's all talk. He didn't have anything to bring to the table. They looked outmatched.
Jim, it was one. Go ahead, Pete.
The other thing that we talked about was the fact that I thought, my speculation was, they don't need to run the ball. Keep throwing the ball. We're like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And your response was, well, you got to keep them guessing, right? You got to keep them off balance. You got to have a balanced attack. And they just threw the ball day to day. I mean, like let's just keep going. Why run the ball? Why bother? Play action. Keep throwing. I'm like, this is unbelievable. The amount of ease that Herbie had back there, the line was giving him so much time. He was checking down, and just like, there was no need to run the ball at all. And that was for me anyway, from a game plan. I loved that, right? I understand the X's and O's that you need to run the ball. You can't do that forever, or they'll key in on that. But the fact of the matter was that today it seems so easy that there's no reason to go away from it right now.
Listen, I'm biased, right? As a runner, I want to see my guys run. But to your point, when the offense is being executed at as high as a level as it is by Herbert and the receivers in this offense, it's hard to go away from that. Why would you, right? When you have a guy, one thing I was extremely proud of Herbert, the Raiders were trying to fire him up with pressure and blitzes, and his ability to get the ball out of his hand quickly, whether it was check downs, whether it was guys speeding up their routes and being able to recognize what was going on. Absolutely masterful play by Herbie. Jim, you said something earlier about Roman calling a perfect game. There was one we talked about a little bit, at that 4th down conversion that we went for, running parallel to the line of scrimmage. Probably the worst call of the game, in my opinion. Why are you running parallel when it's 4th and 1? Give that ball to Najee Harris. Give that ball to Amari Hampton. Let them attack downhill.
Yeah. They the one time they did lean on the run was like at the 2-yard line, and they came up empty. Dicker has like a little chip shot there. I was surprised about that. Right, because they went just before that to get into that spot. They went for it on 4th and 1 and threw a play action. Everyone thought at that point, did we all not think, okay, they're going to run the ball here, right? Yeah. And they would play action and wide open. I don't remember who was the receiver there, but Keenan Allen. And it was like, there you go, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. It was just keep doing that. And then they get down to the 2-yard line and they try to pound it in and nothing happens there. Yeah.
It really felt like they were trying too hard to get Hampton the touchdown. It's like, all right, here again. All right, here again.
Yeah.
Trying to get my guy's first one.
Right. Right. Exactly. Yeah. But 3 times in a row, wasn't it?
It was also interesting to see that Justin Herbert, the leading rusher, with 9 carries, 31 yards. How do you feel about that, running back guy? You like that?
No, I don't like it. I never like it. Anytime you're quarter, unless it's Lamar Jackson, I do not like it. If it's not Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, I don't like it. There was a point in time, I think late in the second quarter, between Najee and between Omarion Hampton, there was a total of 3 carries for maybe 3 yards. It was something crazy out. It was right before Omarion had his 12 or 15-yard run that he had. We kind of had this conversation last year, and it's kind of continuing on. I'm just confused. What do you have these 2 guys there for? You know, what are we doing? We're winning games. The objective of football is to win games. Let me say that. Let me be clear about it. As long as we're winning, it's all well and it's all fine. But when you need to call on a run game, will you be able to? Will these guys have a rhythm? Will they be able to go out and get it done? I just really want to see more from the backfield.
And I wanted to ask you specifically why they're using him so infrequently, especially in the first half. Like you pointed out, hardly at all. I mean, we saw Najee in the fourth quarter a little bit, but that was really about it. And I just thought, again, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And if you can throw the ball that easily and move the ball and the chains that well, you go with. But yeah, like you, I would still like to see them run the ball really a lot more, especially in the first half than they did tonight.
Yeah, there was not much going on in the first half at all with the running game. But Najee finally got some touches, 8 carries, 28 yards. Kenyon, what do you think about his night? Is he starting to get back up to speed, get back to 100%, get back the rhythm and the flow?
Yeah, I like what I'm seeing from him. Again, there's not enough frequency and usage, right? It's you're barely seeing the guy. Obviously, after the fumble by Omarion Hampton late in the game, you've seen more of Najee to close the game out at the running back spot. But I just want to see more from him, from them both. And in all honesty, I love the way Omarion Hampton runs the ball. I love his ability to get in and out of cuts. I love the physicality that he runs with, his ability to get vertical, fall forward. You have 2 solid backs, 2 really, 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 really good running backs that this offense can definitely benefit from using more of. So I'm hoping that we continue to see more of Najee Harris. My guy Omarion got to hold on to that ball, especially in that spot. I know firsthand about that, what that looks like and what that feels like. We were playing New England. I think it was 2015, 2016. We're closing the game out for a minute drill. I fumbled the ball, gave the ball back to Tom Brady with a minute and some change left on the clock. When I tell you my heart sunk and I thought I was on the first thing smoking out of Philadelphia the next day. I know the feeling of coughing the ball up in a spot like that. So, just hold on to that thing, short-term memory, move on, and let's not let that happen again.
Interesting comment.
Joe. I'm sorry.
No, real quick here. Joe says, bro, the offense needs to get it going and not be cute. I'm like, what game are you watching? Like, be as cute as you want if it's working. What do you mean get it going?
The only thing I could think of would be the end around play, trying to get cute. That would be the only one I could think of.
Well, the 4th down play. I don't know what the heck that was.
Yeah, that would be the only thing I could think of.
Right. Yeah.
Do we know if Najee's 100% health wise? Is he on any kind of snap count?
Listen, you playing. He's in the game. You're never 100% healthy in the game of football. Never. The only time that you're healthy is the very first day that you start playing football as a kid. After that, there's some type of nicks, there's some type of bruise, there's something that is this is a physical game. You're never 100% healthy.
Even a workout injury, right?
You know what I'm saying? So if you're up and you're active, we got to play ball.
All right. We have a question here, which we're going to answer after the break. How's that for a tease, Jim? Ty wants us to rate Herbert so far, 1 to 10 so far this season. All right, we'll do that.
I was going to be at the
I can do that. I think that'll be pretty easy. Also going to talk about the receiving core after this as well. There's plenty to get into there. Yeah. I think I have a nice, I like things to be in clean packages, and I'm not OCD or anything, but I like when things are organized and a plan comes together. And I think I have a beautiful plan for this receiving core, and I'll tell you what it is after the break.
Okay.
It's the Locked On Chargers squad show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Pete Fox, KB, Kenyon Barner, and JD, Jim Daniels. We'll be right back after this quick time out. All right, tonight's episode of the Locked On Chargers squad show is brought to you by Prize Picks, the daily fantasy app where making the right call can actually pay off. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right means cashing in and cashing in feels good. Being right feels good. So why not put them together? With football back, Prize Picks is the simplest and fastest way to get in on the action. Pick more or less on 2 to 6 players and their projections, and you can turn your takes into real prizes all in less than 60 seconds. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code Locked On NFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Locked On NFL. You'll get $50 in lineups after your first $5 play. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Boy, isn't that the truth? Like I said, just keep throwing the ball. And I was right, and it feels good. So I'll go first. Where do we think Herbert is 1 to 10? I'm going to say like 9.75, maybe. I mean, I don't want to go 10 because I want to give him something to strive for, as because that's what they say when they ask you to give a rating on a hotel. Never give them 5 stars because then they have no reason to try to be better. So 4 is good, but unless it's Airbnb, give everyone 5 stars. But anyway, like 9.5, 9.75 for me for Herbert. I feel like he's running the ball. He's throwing the ball on point. Yep. He's finding guys over the middle. He's finding guys mid-range. He's finding guys deep. And if you're ready for my organizational strategy here for the Chargers, that's going to make everyone's life a whole lot easier. You've got Ladd McConkey as your underneath guy. You've got Keenan Allen as your mid-range guy. And you've got Quentin Johnston as the deep threat, which is they've wanted him to be all along. How easy is that? I know it's probably too easy for the defense if they stick to that. But for me, it's like, just keep throwing it over the middle of Ladd McConkey. He'll get you 8 to 10, 12 every single time. Keenan racks up about 20. And then, you throw it deep to Quentin Johnston and he'll get you like 60 once or twice a game. How easy is that? You like that? Am I ready to be a coach?
I think you're ready to put a headset on. I think you got it all figured out. With this Herbie, man, this is from playing against Herbie in the league and now being able to sit back and watch Herbie. This is the most comfortable and the easiest the game has appeared to me watching him for Justin Herbert. He just seems very in control, has a command of the offense. There's a trust factor with his receiving core. There's a trust factor with the offensive line. More importantly, there's a health factor. Herbert is healthy. Herbert is able to move. Herbert is able to give to the Chargers and to this fan base who he is and what he has been all along, the ability to elude pressures and guys closing in on him. We've seen it in the game today where he's stepping outside of the pocket, extending drives. The game, it just looks very easy for Herbert right now. It looks very easy. So if I had to rate Herbie right now, I'm a hard critic, right? But I'm not going to go nothing lower than an 8. Just keep going, keep getting better, keep progressing. And it's all about consistency and stacking these days.
Jim, look at this. This is kind of a good point. If it was 10 of 10 tonight, he'd have 400 yards and 5 touchdowns against what should be a bum-ass Raiders defense. It's kind of a good point. It's a good point.
It's a good point.
Could be a little bit better, but I still think he looks so comfortable and confident there.
It's not always about the numbers. What did Russ put up? I mean, he put like 450 yards in a losing effort in that game against Dallas. It's not always about that. It's about, I think, I don't want to be a broken record talking about what we have been already, but it's the ease in which he operated the offense. And part of that has to do with, you stole my thunder a little bit, KB, with the health thing, because if your wheels are broke, if your wheels aren't right, forget it. You're not right. You're never going to be right. You're not going to escape. When you need to escape, you're not going to get the first down when you need to, and you're going to think about, should I take off and run or no, because I'm not 100%. But he is healthy, but decision making too, because he's healthy, because he's confident and has the secret weapon, Keenan Allen. This is Herbert playing at a very high level. I'm going to go in between you. I'm going to say 9 because there's always room for improvement. But man, if he went out and did this every week, show of hands, who'd be happy if he did this for 16 more weeks?
Oh, yeah. They brought up the point that working with Greg Roman for a second season, they talked about last year, a lot of times they were just trying to get the snap count right. They were just trying to be in the right place. And maybe you can talk about that, Kenyon, when you're dealing with a new coordinator, a new coach, a new system. Everything is a little bit slower. And now that they're comfortable with each other, it's slowing down, meaning it's getting a little bit easier for them. And you could see that last week. You could see it even more this week. Yeah, they probably, again, we said at the beginning of the show, 20-9. It felt like it was more like 30-9. The score was closer than the game seemed. And you could put that on a couple of different things. I don't know, missing opportunities in the red zone, etc. But all in all, it never felt like this game was even close to out of hand.
The Chargers had their hand on, had their thumb on this defense, on this offense from the jump. This was never a game that was in question. This was always a game of, let's just get out of this game, be healthy, and let's perform as high as we can. And they performed. When you talk about the relationship between a coordinator and a quarterback, right? It's exactly that. It's a relationship. And the longer I have within this relationship, the more we get to know each other, the better we learn to communicate, the better I learn what works for you, the better you learn what works for me. And this is just the evolution of this process. Last year, first year being together, there's going to be things that you have to fix. It's going to be a bumpy road. But once you begin to, okay, we got some time in this, we got some time up under us, now we can flow, now we can operate. Now I know your strengths, now I know your weaknesses, now I know what you like and what you don't like. So now we can begin to implement a game plan that is both beneficial for the team, but more so benefit for the quarterback that is now working within my system.
How about that Quentin Johnson route that looked like it was going to be a crossing route, then it turns into a curl back across and a pinpoint perfect pass from Herbert for 60 yards. They got into it a lot, broke it down quite a bit. It again looked very simple and easy, but it's a fantastic route to that was drawn up, that he executed, and it was exactly. And it's at this point, I feel like, the drops came up a little bit because it was a national Monday night game, etc. But I feel like that is really kind of an old story, right?
Yeah, some of the young guys maybe felt some of the pressure in that. But again, back to the secret weapon, Keenan Allen, that's the calming force in the whole thing. I mean, I think that Herbert knows in the back of his head that, here's what the play calls for. I'm going to look at this. We're going to do that. But I know my guy's out there. I know my safety blanket is out there. And, I can go to him. The fact that he has such great confidence in that wide receiver room. And talk about the score not being big enough. He had McConkey open for a touchdown. I think the team replay, the guys showed that, and McConkey was beside himself afterward because there's nothing between him and the goal line after that. So I mean, if he sees that and that happens, that's one more touchdown. The score is that much bigger. It's that much more out of reach, and I think people are a little more satisfied. I think if there's any reason for people to be dissatisfied is because, and blame this on the announcers, awful announcing. By the guys in the booth saying, oh, well, you know what? The Raiders are still in this. The Raiders were never in this. Right. Maybe already said it. They never were in this. So it wasn't a question about what the final score is going to be, but they kept trying to make people stick around and then listen to commercials. One more here and then a 2-point conversion. Just stop it already. They were completely outclassed tonight. The Chargers played really, I don't want to say perfect, but near perfect football.
Yeah, I thought they did a good job with what's his name, 98, the guy
Maxx
Crosby. Yeah. And he, obviously always a factor, but kind of a non-issue today, right?
Well, he was a non-issue because of the level of attention that the Chargers sent his way. And what I mean by that, you had a lot of close formations where you're attaching the tight end to the line so he can chip out. You had a lot of plays where it was designed for the running back to chip out through Maxx Crosby. There was a lot of attention sent his direction. We talked about it last week of where we would allow him to play. Will we send him over Joe Alt, or will we send him to the right side and have him attack Pipkins? And we've seen what they did. But he wasn't a factor, and it wasn't because he couldn't do anything. The guy had 2 and 3 guys coming at him all night long. In the play where you seen he was able to get going, there was a couple, but on the Omarion Hampton fumble, he's the guy that made the play. He's a guy that got up under the tackle, slid in there, got his hand on the ball right on the in exchange between quarterback and running back. He wasn't as effective, like I said, because he was a guy that had a target on his back all night long, and rightfully so.
Jim, it's interesting to see in the comments, and I'm kind of happy about this. A lot of these Charger fans are San Diego people because they're like, Chargers win, Dodgers lose. All right. That means they're Padres fans. And I worked down in San Diego.
It was 15 games too, by the way. You can save that text.
Yeah. I worked in San Diego a couple of different times, including when they left and moved to LA. And, obviously San Diego fans were hot. Now you couldn't find a Charger fan in any room. But slowly people started. I go, it's going to take a while, but they'll come back. Don't worry. So I think it's interesting that we don't see a lot of LA. I mean, there are some, of course, but I would say most of these Charger fans are San Diego Charger fans, which is kind of cool. Not cool that the Dodgers lost tonight, the Phillies 6-5, but a good game. They battled back. And if you were if you were just a fan, unlike us, we had to hunker down on this game. I wasn't able to do the picture back and forth, but the Dodgers are battling. So that's good to see. The Chargers didn't really need to battle tonight. They kind of cruised and took care of business. And did you agree, KB, with the assertion that Ashton Genty needed the ball more? Because it felt like, he got the ball all the time, but he is a tough guy to get on the ground. And
1,000%.
When I look at it, he only had 11 carries. I kind of agree that they should have given him the ball a little bit more.
Yeah. There's two guys on that team that need the bulk of the balls going their way. That's Bowers and that's Genty. Jacoby is a great guy, great receiver, gets in and out, gets his yardage and everything. But when you have a guy like Genty, who is a play-making back, he's a game-changing back. You got to feed that monster. You got to feed that baby so he can go out there and get done what he needs to get done. And especially in a game where Geno is not having the type of game that you would like him to have. Geno was missing throws. It just wasn't a good game for Geno. So I have to be able to find this somewhere else. And you have to find that in your back. He's a first-round draft pick for a reason.
Jim, how much was that Geno wasn't having a good game, or was that the Chargers forcing him to not have a good game?
I think that the Chargers' success on defense making Geno have a bad day entirely. Yeah, absolutely. I think everybody was shocked, and the Raiders were running their mouth like crazy about what Geno threw for in Week 1. But who was that against? That was against a soft opponent. In the rain. This was a little bit different here. This is a division rival that knows every move you make, every word you say. Cue the police record right now. They know all about this team. They were ready, and the Raiders, like I said earlier, were running their mouths reckless on social media. Oh, we go. Oh, here we come. Oh, we got surprises. Oh, we're gonna do this. You didn't do any. You didn't do squat. You got run over is what you got.
Deion Henley, Tony Jefferson, and
Tony Jeff.
3 interceptions. How about that? I mean,
that was beautiful.
That was just that was the classic to me. Bend don't break. I mean, one of those in the end zone was 2 in the end zone, or I think it was just 1, because the first one was just outside of the end zone, right? So it was like, yeah, come on down here, it's fine. And we'll just, that Derwin James interception, he didn't get the interception, but Dante Jackson
did.
Yeah. Like the coverage. I love the quote from Pete Carroll. What position does Derwin James play? Because he can play everywhere. I mean, he's 6'4", 215, and he rushes the quarterback like a guy that's 50 pounds heavier, and he plays safety like a 180-pound DB. I mean, the dude is absolutely amazing. I'm glad he's on our team. And the same can be said for Henley.
Talking about Geno off balance, man. The first play of the game was, Gilman tips it and Henley steals it. It's like Geno's like he's rattled from after the first snap. So yeah, it all about defense in this.
That play by Derwin, that play will go fly under the radar for a lot of people. But understanding the level of difficulty to be in that spot, to be able to look into that receiver's eye, see the ball is coming, and in a split second be able to locate the ball and make that play, contort your body to twist, get your eyes. That is, it's indicative of who he is as a player. He is an elite player. He's one of the best players playing this game of football, and has a chance, in my opinion, to be one of the greatest defensive players to ever play this game of football. The Chargers and the fans are incredibly lucky to be able to call him a Charger. That dude is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and then Deion Henley just all over the field. That penetration on 3rd down at the 5-minute mark where he just got down. It was like he was crawling. He was down so low. He was like at knee level getting after that running back. It was just like, it was like, where'd he come from? He's just down there and just penetrating, and it was fantastic. Now,
not only
go ahead.
Not only on that play, Pete, but his sack as well. The sack that he had on Geno, where he kind of slow played it, and the offensive line turned to the right, and it opened up an open parted like the Red Sea. I don't believe he was responsible to blitz the quarterback. I think he was just intelligent enough to understand time, space, and awareness and go and make that play. But we got to talk about TJ for a second, right? We talked about us being surprised by him getting cut.
Yeah.
And we also said him signing to practice squad. They understand the level of importance to have a guy like him to be able to step in and perform on an instant notice. And this was a prime example of that this week, being called up, what was it, a couple of days ago from practice squad, expect to go in the game and play, but come out and play the way that he played. My guy was all over the field, making plays, coming up, laying wood, laying hat on guys, pass breakups. But this is the great thing about the rule change to practice squad, because up until 2020, you couldn't have veterans on practice squad. It was a rookie and a young player spot. So you couldn't have a 7, 8, 9, 10 year vet on your practice squad. So thankfully for 2020, when they changed that rule, that allows for Tony Jefferson to be in this spot. Otherwise, he wouldn't be here. So shout out to TJ.
Why would they have that rule, KB? Is that to make sure that the young guys, are getting a chance, an opportunity to make some money because the life expectancy in the NFL is so short?
I don't know if it's that much, but I think it is to give younger guys an opportunity, because if you think about it, would you rather have a first-year guy on your roster, or would you have a guy that's been in the league for 7, 8, 9 years, 6 years, that's proven, you know what he can do? And so now that kind of takes away from the opportunity of a younger guy, because I don't have to develop this guy. I don't have to go through the nicks and the pains, the growth pains of dealing with a young player. But I can have a vet on my roster at all times ready to step in. It's kind of it's really an unfair advantage, but now it's an advantage that everybody can benefit from. So again, shout out to the league recognizing that and allowing time and space for vets to keep jobs and get on these rosters.
Sam, who is a San Diego lifer, says Herbo looked a little bit off in the second half, almost threw an interception, few throws behind receivers. He's not wrong. I did see that, but it didn't affect them and didn't cost them anything. So could have taken himself out in the 3rd and 1. Nonetheless, 10 played great. So what is it? Played great, or it was a little bit off? I'm just kidding.
Listen, nobody's ever played a perfect game of football.
Yeah,
Tom Brady had bad possessions, bad quarters. It happens. It's the game of football.
Your boy Tom Brady in the house tonight, Kenyon.
TB12, minority owner, was not happy. I know he was not happy, especially with that quarterback play.
Yeah. Speaking of something we're all not happy about, Khalil Mack, we're going to talk about that after the break. It's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show. Kenyon Barner, Jim Daniels, and Pete Fox. We'll be right back. Tonight's episode of the Locked On Chargers Squad Show is brought to you by BetterHelp. We all turn to some funny places for advice. Your barista, your brother, maybe even a random stranger in the bathroom, but not everyone is the right one when it comes to real support. Well, isn't that the truth? Instagram, Facebook, it's all over the place. That's where BetterHelp is here. That's what it's for. With over 30,000 licensed therapists and more than 10 years of experience, BetterHelp helps you find your right match, someone clinically trained and credentialed to guide you through life's challenges. I've used BetterHelp once, and I've also had therapy with people in person, live, and they're not different at all. It's not like you're on the phone. It is like you're sitting there talking to them because you're on a camera just like this, and they're right there on the other side of it, and it's very intimate and personal. So give it a try. As the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. Find the one with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. The Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel, where you can find Daniel and David. They're still there Monday through Friday. They're going to be on. They might be on right now or a little bit later. The reason that one of them is not here and Jim is because of the late start to this game. So the schedule conflicts got in their way, and Jim was gracious enough and available enough to step in. So thank you for doing that, buddy. What do we think the injury is to Khalil Mack? Is it elbow? Have they said? I don't know if they had it
wrapped.
You heard elbow?
On the telecast, I heard elbow. Yeah.
Okay. Because I thought it could be wrist, like maybe even, like, because it got bent back. Like maybe
that's what it looked like at first when he came off the field. He looked like he was holding his wrist.
Elbow. Obviously, you never want to speculate on injuries, but based on the replay that they did show, his arm was caught in a very awkward position and was pushed in. So, again, don't want to speculate, don't want to really say too much about it until it comes out, but I don't think it's good. I don't think it's good at all. Playing with a guy named, LaMichael James that dislocated his elbow when we were in college. I think we're playing against Cal, and the injury looked somewhat similar to that, pretty ugly. So, just prayers up to Khalil. Hope it's nothing major, and hopefully bounces back and be able to come back this season.
Lenny says hyperextension of the elbow. It's not like the knee, is it? Like where you've got the lateral support, where you can tear. I mean, I guess you can't tear that ligament. That's what happens to pitchers, right? They tear that elbow ligament.
John.
Yeah, and they need TJ. So hopefully he doesn't need TJ. That would be terrible because that is a long road to hoe there. But yeah, sometimes you almost hope that it was a break versus a tear of a ligament or something like that. It can take a whole lot longer to return. But yeah, as you said, hopefully it's not as bad as it looked to all of us, and maybe a few weeks off and he'll be back. But the good news is that this defense is stacked, and you never want to lose a guy like that. But when you have plenty of next men up, it is a good place to be for the Charger defense. 20-9, the final in win number 2 for the Chargers versus 2 losses for the Chiefs. And look, what we've seen from the Chargers thus far going into next week in their 3rd consecutive AFC West game against the Denver Broncos, I don't see any reason they can't run the table on these first 3 games. And that's not something we would have said 3 weeks ago.
That's not something we did say. I think all of us, when we were on
2-1, right?
Yeah. We talked about this 3-game stretch. The way this team looks, the way this defense is playing, the way Herbert is playing, there's no reason why they can't come out of this 3-game stretch 3-0. Obviously, without having any proof in the pudding at the beginning of the season, it's very easy to say 2-1. But once you see these guys get out here and play and how they're executing and the level in which they are, it's very reasonable to say we can come out of this at 3-0. It's obviously going to be a dogfight with Denver's defense, one of the best defenses in the league. But they could very well be 3-0 after next week and have a healthy lead in this division.
Charger 55 says hyperextended elbow. NFL players typically have a recovery timeline for this one of 2 to 4 weeks. So
as long as it's a hyperextended and there isn't anything majorly done, like we said, to the ligaments that doesn't require surgery or anything like that. So again, hopefully it's it's the least of it, not on the latter.
Yeah, without a doubt. What was your like? We always like to talk about special teams. In a little earlier today too, KB. We're not going to wait till the very last segment.
This is I'm shocked. I'm caught off guard.
Maybe one of these days we'll do it in the first segment. Like if somebody takes one back to the house or something. Hey. Hassan Haskins 2 kick returns, 51 yards. Darius Davis had 1 for 29. I know you were critical of him last week. Did you feel better about it today?
I was only critical of him on punt return. It was the play that it was on a +50 where he was standing on the 10-yard line. You don't want to fall off the cliff, but he let the ball fall on like the 9-yard line, and they started the drive on the 2 rather than on the 10. And every yard is crucial when you're in that area. So I have no problems. I have no corners to pick with the special team guys this week. They did what they could with the opportunities that they were given. So it's A-okay in my book.
Jim, here's an unsung hero for you. That play on the little chip shot for Dicker, it was a bad snap. Did you see the move that J.K. Scott did to get that ball down?
I did.
That was fantastic. I mean, like they mentioned it briefly, but I was like, he made it look so easy. Dicker just did his thing,
That's why you use the punter. That guy, that's the guy that's besides the quarterback that's used to having the ball come back there, snap to him. But he did a perfect job. Like you said, he got it up. He got everything but the spin. I noticed he didn't try and spin it at the last second, but the laces weren't facing backwards. So it wasn't a problem anyway. But yeah, that was the only real, I don't know, dodged a bullet moment, I think, in the whole game.
KB, when you look at this defense on a whole, we talked about this last week at some point, that obviously we know what the starters are capable of, but a lot of times what makes a defense and a team across the board better and consistently good week after week is the secondary, the second guys, not the secondary, the second stringers. When they get in there, when the first stringers are getting a blow and taking a break, guys like Bud Dupree come in and, but to me, Bud Dupree, when he's on the field, he's a muckraker. He is always making life difficult for the opposition. But did you feel today that you saw a lot of that when the starters were resting? The guys that were coming in from the second string were getting the job done equally as efficiently as the starters?
There wasn't a fall off whatsoever. Part of that is, I think we're playing a bad Raiders team. But your job as an NFL player is to be prepared. When your name is called on, go on and execute. You never want to feel a drop off from player one to player two. And obviously there's a talent discrepancy right there, right? Number one is number one for a reason. But the way that this team is structured and the way that this team is built, I think we're in great hands. I think these guys are prepared. All of them execute at a high level. Using Bud as an example, when he came in the game after Khalil Mack went down, there was no drop off. If anything, he might have taken it up another level, another notch. Knowing who Khalil Mack and his impact is, obviously you have that pressure. Okay, I got to come in here and I got to make my presence felt, and I think he did exactly that. So I'm not concerned about it. I think we're in great shape.
I got to say, Naquan Jones is somebody that I wrote his name down a couple of times. I was looking at my notes and I wrote his name down a couple of times. Man, he was stuffing people tonight.
It's a big boy.
As far as non-starters on the offensive side of things, we spent a lot of time on Quentin Johnson and Keenan Allen and Ladd McConkey, Trey Harris, 2 catches for 34 yards. But Kenyon Barner, who is going to get up in KLS's business and say, you cannot be lining up in the neutral zone? Is that the coach? Is that Ladd McConkey? Is that Keenan Allen? It's probably Keenan Allen, right?
It's almost costly.
See, Keenan Allen, he's gonna joke about it. He gonna be like, all right now. But that's definitely a coach that's gonna do that. But KLS, brother, all you got to do is check with the sideline judge. Just look over to the right, put your hand up, point, and he's gonna tell you that to back up or move up. But that can't happen. Again, that's one of those things where it's a simple check with me. Oh, look to your right, look to your left, and just check.
All right, final break, and then when we come back, I want to get into a little bit of the coach speak, because these two guys are notorious non-speaking coaches. The amount of nothing that comes out of their mouth is remarkable. So we're going to talk about that after the break. Kenyon Barner, Jim Daniels, and Pete Fox. It's the Locked On Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. All right, tonight's episode finally is brought to you by Upside. This is an app that I use, have on my phone. Although right now it's so weird. Like half of my apps have just stopped working. Like ESPN doesn't work, Instagram doesn't work, Upside doesn't work. So I got to figure out what's going on. I might have to do that wipe thing where you just wipe the phone and start over, which is a nightmare. See you guys in a week as I'm, working on that for the whole week. Anyway, I got to get it fixed because my Upside is not working, and I'm a guy that uses Upside. So if you're still paying full price for gas, stop leaving money on the table. Get real cash back every time you fill up with the free Upside app. And you don't even have to fill up. If you do, sometimes you get bonuses and whatnot. But if you put in $10, $20, whatever, they give you a rebate per gallon, and it goes directly into your Upside app, and there it's there. You can download it straight to your bank account. You get gift cards, all sorts of different options. Simply download the free Upside app in the App Store or the Google Play right now and start earning cash back at the pump today. Use the limited time promo code TOUCHDOWN, and you'll get an extra 25 cents back per gallon on your first fill up. You can make up to $300 a year just from buying the gas that you already need. Don't let this offer drive by. Download the free Upside app now using the limited code touchdown. For a limited time, you'll get 25% off per gallon or back per gallon. That's promo code touchdown. Offers vary by user and location. Go to upside.com for terms and conditions. All right, it's the Locked On Chargers squad show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. So they caught Pete Carroll first. I think that was going into the half. And I covered the Trojans for, 5 or 6 years during Pete Carroll's tenure as head coach. And two things I know about Pete Carroll: he is no BS. And the second thing is, you do not wear orange around Pete Carroll when you're playing the Tennessee Volunteers. This very shirt that I have on, I have it in two colors. God, I can't believe I've had them that long, but I have an orange one and a blue one. And I wore the orange one to practice one day. And Pete was like, he was just giving me the mad dog. He was just like, what are you doing? And I was like, what do you mean, what am I doing? And he goes, why are you wearing that shirt? And I go, we're playing Tennessee this week. I was like, oh, damn. It's just like it happened at the Lakers too. Fortunately, not to me, but somebody wore green around Kobe Bryant the year after.
Why would you do that?
Celtics. Kobe Bryant was just all over that guy. So anyway, Pete Carroll I love Pete Carroll. He's fantastic. He's no BS. And tonight I appreciated the fact that he came out and like going into halftime, he was like, we just got to play better. Like, we got to score more and we got to play better. So, I mean, to a certain extent, it's not really coach speak, because he was just being honest. And it wasn't a lot of the nonsense that we get from Jim Harbaugh, where, he's just like, yeah, there's players on the football field and they're playing and they got to keep playing. And when they play, we win. If they play, playing, he just repeats the same word over and over again. So, JD, what was your take on Pete versus Jim in the coach speak department tonight?
Like I said, it's really been all week long, the posturing and the media taking the bait. Well, actually, the record is 6-6, so this is the rubber match that these two are going after this time. I mean, they made a huge deal. I mean, they threw gasoline in there, and everybody jumped on and piled on. I thought it was great, and I think it's great for the rivalry. I think it's great for both teams. I would absolutely give the nod to Harbaugh, like you said. See, Pete is the ultimate, and KB. Is this the way to put it? The ultimate optimist? Is that what you would call Coach Carroll? Because nothing is ever that bad. Nothing is out of order. Nothing is ever impossible. There's always a way. And if somebody's hurt, it's really not that bad. I know there's a lot of blood, but he's probably going to be okay.
It's the glass half empty or glass half full.
Yeah, with Pete, it's always half full, right?
Yeah. But go ahead.
No, you.
I thought Coach Harbaugh won the week, though.
I'm just a Pete fan. I'm just a Pete fan. I love his halftime speech when the question was asked, and he goes, "Well, you just got to play better." Well, duh. Well, duh. Can I get some more? So
it was like when Ditka said that one time. He goes, "If we play better offense, defense, and special teams, we're going to win this game." Really? Thanks for clearing that up.
Thanks for the dissertation. This is incredible. So yeah, I just coach talking. I'm used to it. Obviously, coming up under Chip Kelly, then being around Bill and all these different. They just don't talk to the media, and they give the worst absolute answers. I feel like it's intentional. It's what can I say to give the least amount of information that would irritate everybody the most? Just play better. I like that one. I'm gonna go with that.
Yeah. I feel like Harbaugh, to me, looks, because he's got kind of thick glasses. I think his eyesight is pretty terrible. So he's got thick glasses. So he looks a little cross-eyed, he's like, and he looks like he has absolutely no clue about football at all. Like, I don't know. I'm just out there. Yeah. I don't know. I just hope these guys know what they're doing, because I don't. That's what it seems like. It seems like he's out there just trying to convince everybody. And this happened to me when this was my take on Lane Kiffin. I'm honestly surprised that Lane Kiffin is still a professional football coach and pretty successful at it, because I felt like Lane Kiffin spent all of his time convincing the media that he was a good coach. That's all that he did. Like, I'm just trying to make sure you guys understand that I can coach. Right. Doesn't matter if I actually can. It's just, I want to convince the media that I know how to coach. right? And I feel like at times Jim Harbaugh is the opposite of that. He goes out of his way to make everyone think he can't coach at all. And it's just it's mind-boggling. I'm always surprised at like, because he never says anything interesting or never says any, like, he is one of the best at saying nothing. He just like at no point in time does he ever say anything. The other one that was like that. And Pete Carroll, I thought was he was pretty insightful. Like I said, pretty honest all the time with us. But there's a lot of coaches that just don't ever want to talk. Now, KB, in the locker room, during the week, like a coach doesn't give you that sort of stuff. You get real stuff from him, right?
No, absolutely not. You only hope that they would give you something like that during the week. No, you're gonna catch an earful each and every day, down to the smallest of details. They're gonna give you everything that they possibly can. Those moments you wish that just make it short and sweet, but no, that's not what you get during the week.
Compare Belichick, to you guys, because you were played under him for a little bit, and compare that Belichick to the Belichick we see in the press room. Like, it's got to be 100% different.
It's not the same human being. I feel like that's a created person that goes before the media and talks. Bill is the most detailed coach I've ever been around in my life. Literally, our squad meetings on Tuesdays or Mondays, Bill is giving you a rundown, the team down from the owner down to the GM, the head coach down to the water boys. He's giving you a complete rundown of everybody. He wants you to know how the team is structured and built. So when you see him get on the podium and give these one-word answers, you're like, that is not who you are in the meeting rooms. Not even close.
Who is that guy?
Yeah, I don't know that person.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
These guys, some of it they have to do to entertain themselves too. I mean, because they know they're playing with us a little bit. I was watching tape of something. I'm watching the Miami dumpster fire, and I'm watching Coach McDaniel. And he looked at this guy asked a question. I don't even know what he asked, but he looked at him, kind of cocked his head sideways. He goes, "That sounds like a fantasy football question," just to completely throw everybody off. Then gave this big, long, unintelligent answer, and to go, "How was that? Was that good for you?" So got to be entertaining for them too.
Yeah. I mean, look, there's a lot of talking that goes on in sports, right? After, before, I don't know which one's the worst. I feel like they're all pretty bad because they all all the managers and coaches have to sit down before the game and talk to the media, right? And generally that's about health, right? Like, so how's so-and-so doing, whatever. And then now they get to get a little halftime thing in before they go into the locker room. Fortunately, the baseball guys don't have to deal with that. And then sometimes they do in the middle of the game if it's a national game. But then afterwards, they have to go into the press room and answer questions about the game. And so, being a member of the media, you're just like, because we're trying to get 8 seconds, 12 seconds. Give me 12 seconds of something that's meaningful, right?
And I'm trying to get paid here.
Yeah.
I need pound.
I was always grateful that, like, at least they would say things, like words. Like, I couldn't imagine covering Belichick because it would be like 3 seconds. It would be like 2 words. And a lot of times ESPN will just run that. Nope. Yeah. Why don't you ask them? I don't think so. Yeah, probably not.
I feel bad for the media sometimes, because their job is coaches, players not so much, but coaches make their job they make it so hard for them to do their job. It's so hard. I find it entertaining. I do. I laugh at the responses that coaches give. I feel like there's this there has to be a coaching class on talking to the media, right? Where all these guys get together. All right, this is what this is how we're going to talk to the media. We're going to give them every bit of nothing and waste as much time as possible. I feel bad for the media sometimes.
Yeah. Jim, you have one in your head that is the most memorable player or coach that was just the most difficult?
Yeah, I really do. When I first started doing sports, this is 24 years ago, and the Angels and the Yankees are going at it, and I'm in the locker room trying to get something out of Joe Torre. And, it depends on what mood Joe Torre is in, as if whether he's going to say anything at all or whether he's going to sit there and hold court. Well, he's not holding court out here in the West Coast until the guy with the MSG microphone flag comes up and asks him some flowery little question. And I asked him, hey, man, are you throwing at the Angels or not? And he couldn't believe, he was shocked that I would ask that question out loud. Well, whatever you people make it up to be, was his answer.
Yeah, I had one of my two terrible experiences was with Joe Torre at Dodger Stadium. Back then, you would have, at the end of the game, you would have to go into the office.
Yeah.
And you would stand right next to their desk.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
You had to be an arm's length away from them. So when the guys with the mics were first in, last out, and the reporters would stand in front of his desk and ask questions. And I was always a little envious of the daily guys, the guys that worked for the Times and whatnot, that were there every day, before the game, after the game, on the road. And, obviously they create a different rapport with those guys. And I was like, well, maybe I'll try and say something friendly. Right. And at the end of this, so the Dodgers, it was a Sunday, they were leaving on a road trip, and they won like 14-3 or something. And they were going wherever they were going. They were going to face a good team Monday or Tuesday. And I said, boy, I bet you wish you could have kept some of those runs for the Phillies. And this was his response. Like, he didn't move. He didn't say a word. He just like burned a hole in the back of my head with his eyes, just staring at me like, get the F out of my office. Yeah. And I was just like, oh my God. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not going to try to be friends with Joe Torre ever again.
He was that friendly guy you see on TV. I never ran into that guy.
Right. And then the other one was Jeff Kent. I was my first time reporting. I was like, hey, and I kind of liked Jeff Kent. I thought he was a cool dude. And I go, hey man, can I get a few questions? And he's like, just rolls his eyes and tilts his head back. And then it was like every question you asked him was like,
pulling teeth.
Never talk to him ever again either. But at least Harbaugh seems like and Pete Carroll for sure, super nice guy. At least Harbaugh seems like a nice guy. He doesn't seem like he goes out of his way to make it tough on you. He's just, he's just not saying a whole lot, and he's a master at it. That is for sure. 20-9. Chargers now 2-0, first place in the AFC West. I don't know if I mentioned this or not, but the Chiefs are 0-2. So their season's done. They're done.
They are in trouble, man. They are, with no running game and a limited wide receiver room. They're in big trouble.
Just like I said, KB, I told you this. They're a non-factor, a non-issue.
I'm never counting Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes out to pull a rabbit out the hat. I just can't do it. There's
no doubt they'll figure out a way to make it interesting at the end of the season. But we don't have to worry about them until the end of the season. So it is. Let me see if I got this right, because I had last week wrong and got called out. It was in Oakland tonight at the Roomba. Next week, back at SoFi. So it is the home opener, even though week one was home game, technically speaking.
Sacrificed.
But next, this coming Sunday, 105 CBS, Broncos and Chargers. Broncos are 1-1. The matchup predictor has the Chargers at a 56.2%. They have an early spread out. They do. Chargers are 2.5-point favorites. What do you think about that number going into this one, KB?
I like it. I'm not against it at all.
You don't think it should be a little bigger? 3.5?
I do.
Nah. You think it should be bigger? Tell me why, Jim.
They say home field is 3.
Yeah, it should be at least 3, right? Yeah.
But
look, it could go there, Jim. It's still we
gotta take into account the defense that we about to face now.
Yeah, that's true. Okay.
We facing a real defense.
I get that running game going in this one.
1,000%.
Be careful. Don't say anything positive about the Broncos. All these Charger fans can tell you to move to Denver and go be a Bronco fan then. If you think their defense is too good.
Denver's a beautiful place.
I love you guys. You guys are hardcore, and that's That's what we need in here. We need some hardcore fans, San Diego Charger fans. It's gotta be one LA. Can one LA Charger fan, pipe up and say, hey, yeah, I'm an LA Charger fan and I don't care about San Diego? I don't know. It seems like there's a lot of Broncos fans are delusional. That's true. That is one of the truest things.
Absolutely true.
Today. They could be the worst team in football and they're like, we're gonna win the Super Bowl.
I got a question. Are they worse than Cowboy fans?
Ooh. No.
Because I think the Cowboy fan base have to be the most delusional people on earth.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't imagine what their personal lives looks like. They need to come back to reality.
I feel like sometimes you run into Cowboy fans that are like Giants fans. They're just like, even when they're good, they're like, who knows?
Yeah.
They're like overly negative to just try and make themselves feel bad. I feel like Bronco fans are just straight up delusional. Doesn't matter at all whether they're good or bad. Oh, we're great, man. We're gonna win.
And KB, if you'd have left Jimmy Johnson alone, how many more would they have won?
Ain't no telling. But I think that's kind of the owners don't know how to stay out the way.
Well, we see plenty of that, haven't we?
Same could be said for Shaq and Kobe. What could have happened there? Anyway.
What if?
And a hot dog is not a sandwich, Jim. It's a hot dog.
Is it? Why is it not? It's in between two slices of bread.
But it's a bun, though. It's not bread. It's a bun.
But
what if it's on bread?
A bun is bread.
What if you use bread?
Have you
slices?
Right?
Of
have you never had a hot dog on a slice of bread?
Of course I have.
So is it a sandwich or is it a hot dog?
That's a hot dog sandwich. When you don't have a bun, you slice the hot dog down the middle and then you put it on the bread, and then it's like a hot dog sandwich. Yeah,
that's the way to end this conversation.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I like what you did there, Pete.
Respect that.
All right, 1 hour. That's it. We did it. Locked On Chargers Squad Show, week 2 in the books. Normally we do the weekly squad show on Tuesday, but we're not doing it tomorrow morning because that would be ridiculous. We could spend the whole hour talking about sandwiches and hot dogs, or we would because there'd be nothing else to say, right? But we'll do it Thursday this week, hopefully, if everything goes as planned. So for Kenyon Barner, 10 years in the league, 3 rings. Still don't know where those rings are because he's not telling.
Can I throw in one thing real quick about that? It doesn't know where the rings are. A friend of mine, Mark Collins, used to play in the league, played for the Giants, played with Parcells and LT and those guys. He has a couple of NFC championship rings that he gave to his kids to use as pool toys. Wow. The only ones that meant anything were the championship rings.
Yeah, I'm with that.
Amen.
Are you with that, KB?
Yeah, I'm with that. If it's not a Super Bowl ring, what do we have it for? It's like a consolation prize. What I want that for?
Hockey players won't even touch the conference championship trophy. They're like, get that out of here.
We don't play for runner-ups and conference championships. We play for Super Bowls.
Exactly. I try to tell all my idiot friends that are like, oh, your team lost. I'm like, listen, dude, if your team doesn't win the championship, then it doesn't matter. Like these guys only care about one thing. Like
there's only one team winning.
Yeah, getting to the finals or the Super Bowl and losing doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Yeah. They like if they win in the first round, so what? Like you don't get a trophy for winning in the first round or the wild card or whatever. You don't get a trophy for that. So thank you for
end up at the same place at the house on the couch watching the game.
Exactly. On the tee box, on the golf course, right? All right. For Kenyon Barner, Jim Daniels, I'm Pete Fox. That's the Locked On Chargers Squad Show on the Locked On Chargers YouTube channel. Appreciate you guys for watching and listening, and appreciate the comments. We'll be back on Thursday. Take care. Have a good one. See ya.